Hey, what's going on? My name is Coach Lee Hopkins. My pronouns are he, him, his, and you're listening to the Patterns of Possibility podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you replace harmful patterns with new possibilities. In each episode, we'll explore topics that inspire you to be yourself, live your truth, and make lasting connections. In this episode, we're going to talk about holding grudges and how detrimental and devastating they can be. We're going to talk about some of those experiences that I've personally had with holding grudges and having grudges held against me and what I've done. Maybe it'll work for you too. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay, so grudges. Oh my God, this is a tough topic, right? Because it's hard not to be mad at somebody. Just because there are so many people out here who just do things that are upsetting and frustrating to us. They're upsetting and they're frustrating to you, and we expect them to be better. We expect them to own up to their responsibility or their impact on us. And that's very much what I talk about all the time here on this podcast, is about the connection that we're looking for. And the connection, by my definition, is the demonstration that you understand how I feel about my experiences. So when I tell you that you have hurt me, when I tell you some of your actions have been hurtful to me, I want you to understand that. I want you to know what you've done, recognize it, own your behavior, and then the hope, the underlying desire is that you hear me, you see me, you know that it was hurtful to me, and because it was hurtful to me and I care so much, you care so much about me that you won't do it again. You recognize that the behavior that you did was hurtful, and you'll demonstrate care and love for me by not doing that behavior again. But man, when we're holding grudges against people, it seems like they can't even understand or grasp the idea that they have done something that has hurt me, or they have done something that has hurt you. And they just put it out of their head. They just put it out of their head and they don't take responsibility for it. And I think that in my own personal experience is that when I'm holding a grudge, I'm thinking that they don't care about me. I'm very angry and upset because they keep demonstrating that they don't care about me or my feelings. And you know, with the holiday season coming up, it always gets so much worse, because I think the worst transgressors against us when it comes to holding grudges or helping us create grudges to hold against people are family members. Because we were raised in an environment, I know I was raised in an environment that family is everything and family is the most important. And if, someone does something to hurt you, you really need to get over it because we are family and we need to be together. Just move on. It's not a big deal. You're being unreasonable and irrational. And that in itself puts more pain upon the experience. So I've already been hurt. And I have unsavory, uncomfortable, just terrible feelings about the experience itself, about being hurt. And now I can't even express that feeling of being hurt to anybody because nobody understands. Nobody cares. And I think the funny thing about grudges, if there is a funny thing about it, is that it just continues to persist because there is that one person. It's only one person. There's that one person who transgressed against us in the first place that we want to tell about our experiences. We want to tell them, hey, Mom, remember when you did this and I was really hurt? I'm angry. We want them to know. We can tell our friends, we can tell other people, we can tell our therapist about it, but we really want that one person to take responsibility. Hey, Dad. Hey, brother. Hey, sister. Hey, great aunt. Hey, uncle. I want you to know how I feel about you. I'm angry. You messed up. You did something that's hurtful to me. And we don't really find too much relief when we tell other people. That's the funny thing, I suppose. It's not even haha funny. It's like, what an observation funny. As much as we try to vent and get it out, we are stuck. No, I get stuck. I got stuck many times just hoping this one person would listen to me. When I get the opportunity, I'm going to talk to them. It's wild, right? And I think that it really does more harm to us than it does to the other person, because we're holding on to that pain and that frustration. But how do we let it go? If the solution or if the answer is for them to own their behaviors and own their actions, and they won't listen to us, and they're not interested, and they get defensive or they fight us, and then we get another experience where we're not being heard again, and we get more pain and more frustration on top of the grudge that we already have. What's the answer? What's the solution? How do we get rid of it? Well, I've been working at this for some time because, my family and I, we just haven't clicked like the people on TV. Like I thought families needed to be with Family Matters and Step by Step. I grew up in the 90s watching these TV shows and seeing families sit around together and kiki and laugh it up and resolve conflicts in just an easy 28-minute episode. It's just over. There's no conflict anymore. None of that has ever happened in my family. And so I've been holding on to anger and frustration for a very long time until I started to first, of course, move away, get away. Like, you can't stay in a place where you're constantly feeling as if you're devalued and nobody cares about your feelings, and the expression of them is going to harm you because the people around you are going to react in a negative way. You can't stay in that space. So if you're in a space like that, do the best that you can to move out of it. Make space, get away from that, just so you can spend time with your own thoughts and your feelings. Because I noticed that I was just constantly being triggered. I was constantly upset. I was constantly feeling sad. So if you're holding grudges, you have to get away from those people that you're holding grudges against. If you're angry, you have to get away from those people that you're angry against. Because one of the things that you'd be tempted to do is be triggered and then lash out and then build even more frustration because they're not listening to you and they're likely to transgress against you again. So there's another strike. There's already the one grudge, and now you're angry that they won't listen to the other grudge or the other anger that you have, or how you feel about it. And you just keep piling those things up. And so what I did was to move out of the space. I just got to get somewhere where I can settle my own thoughts and I'm not constantly feeling like I have to fight, right? So that's one thing that is necessary to do. While you're spending time by yourself, and while I was spending time by myself doing my own things, I was wondering, why was I so upset? What was going on with me that I was so upset about their actions and behaviors? Did they know I wanted to be treated differently? Because I used to think that they were intentionally harmful and hurtful. They, as in anybody and everybody, was intentionally harmful and hurtful to me. Were they doing that on purpose? And I stopped thinking about that. I shifted my mindset to think more about what was so hurtful to me about it. What were my expectations? What did I need in that space that I didn't get? Because when you're in it, and you're constantly in a space where you are thinking about not being heard, or you're really focused on not being heard, you won't be able to hear yourself. And so when you move out of that space, you need to spend time by yourself and shift that mindset from being the victim mindset, where everybody's just trying to hurt me, they're just so mean, they don't care, to what did I need? What was so hurtful about those situations to me? What would I have preferred to happen? And just do some self-soothing. Understand more about what's going on with you. That was the second thing that I've done. And what this allowed me to do was get a little bit more understanding of not only myself, but understanding of them. What was going on with them and how they might be feeling. Because that's really the key to releasing grudges, is to move away from the space, get clarity about yourself, and then try to see things from their side. Now, I know it sounds cliche, and you probably want to turn the podcast off. What do you mean? See things from their side. Well, hey, we're trying to get resolution for ourselves. We're not trying to forgive them for their sake. We're not doing anything like that. That's not my MO. We don't do things for other people. We do things for ourselves to enrich ourselves, and we do things to enrich ourselves and enrich our lives. And because we do that for ourselves, we become better people for others. And thereby, everybody benefits from us, from our new state of mind, from our presence in the situation. Because the situation might be the same, but we will be different if we take some time to understand us and then also understand others. But understanding ourselves first is the key. So taking the time to understand you, taking the time to understand me, ourselves, spending time wondering what it is that we needed, what we wanted, what we wished that would happen, and then thinking about, well, I wonder if they were even able or capable of doing that for me. Like, what's going on with them in that side, trying to understand them. Maybe they have been under stress or duress, or maybe that is just their personality, and it's not something that they would do to me personally. They haven't singled me out personally. It's just that they would do it to everybody and anybody. And I'm not very special. I'm not a very special person to them. And reflecting on that, processing your feelings about that. Well, what? They're your family members. They're supposed to be special. Well, that's what they told you. That's what they told you. But they don't even know that. Maybe somebody told them that family is special. Maybe they went through this whole process themselves and have plenty of grudges, and it's absolutely normal. And people have told them that they just need to get over it. It's not a big deal. And now they're passing it down to you. They've had all these unsavory, dismissive things happen to them. They've expressed it at some point in time, and somebody has told them, look, your feelings don't matter. It's not a big deal. Just get over it. And so they believe that is normal behavior, and they pass it right on down to you. But you, the person who has more feeling, you're like, this is not normal. This doesn't feel right. I don't want this. You can step away and look and say, well, maybe you don't want it, but they're living in it, and that's the way they roll. That's who they are. That's what's going on with them. And so you won't take it so personally. That's part of my journey, is not taking it so personally, recognizing that they have their own patterns, and they're going to enact their patterns. They're going to play them out, and you're going to get hit by them. And as much as you want things to be different because you were told that they should be, or you watch some TV shows, or you've talked to other people, or you've witnessed other families that things are different, and you want your family to be different, you're not changing anybody. Certainly you're not changing them by going to tell them that they need to be different, by yelling at them, by raising your voice, by saying this is unfair, but we're family. You're not going to make any changes that way. What you need to do, what I've done, is to be an example of what it looks like not to hold grudges, to release the pain, to release the frustration, to talk about your feelings. Be an example. This is hard, isn't it? Because what if they did something that was really egregious? It's hard. I know. I'm not saying this is easy. This is a superpower and an amazing skill to have. And it's really so much easier to just do the pattern, just enact the family pattern, to do the painful things, because there's no awareness of what could be different. It's always been this way, so let's just keep it this way. It's hard to make the adjustment to hear how you've hurt other people. It's easier to dismiss it and get mad at them for bringing up the pain. It's easier, and that's why people do it. If you're on this path, if you're listening to my voice, then you have to know that this isn't going to be easy. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you think about it as a joyful experience, you get to learn yourself. You get to see where you were before. When you look at people who've been acting in those old patterns that you were in, you're like, wow, this is pretty cool. I've come so far. I'm so much more calmer, and a lot of things don't bother me as much as they did, and I accept people for who they are now. So if you want to get on this journey, I don't recommend that you start out with, like, if you're just starting this journey, I don't recommend that you start out with trying to solve a family feud or some decades old, not even decades old, but maybe like centuries old feud, or some kind of problem, that generational problem that's been passed down over and over and over again. Like, you have a grudge and there's some generational patterns or some anger about what happened in the family. I don't recommend that you go and you try to take that on. I recommend that you start with smaller, less emotional events. So say somebody has done something, maybe they have borrowed $50 from you, maybe $500 from you. That's a lot of money. They borrowed it from you and they didn't pay it back. They just skipped town, they disappeared, and you thought they were a good friend. And you're holding on to that anger and that frustration about that. You're like, hey, I needed that money. I would have never given you that money, but I trusted you, and all that trust is broken. And you're focused on telling them that they're a bad person and they need to fix it and make it right. Instead, create some distance. They're already gone, so there's that distance for you. But in your mind, create some distance from them and stop thinking about why they did this terrible thing, how you're so focused on why you're angry at them, and focus more on what's going on internally. What am I feeling? What did I need? What did I want? What did I hope would happen? What have I learned from this? You can bring yourself to a calmer space and then start seeing that person for who they are. Maybe they ripped off a lot of other people. Maybe that's just the way things are with them. It's important to notice that it's just not about you. And when you notice that it's not about you, like I have, not all of it's about me. I do feel some kind of way about it. But I've learned, and I don't need to keep holding on to it. I've learned for the next time. So I hope this helps, especially because the holiday season is coming up. If you're going to go home and visit family, then take some time to ground yourself before you go, and remember that it's not about you. Do you want to feel more included at work, or make a close friend to share your deepest thoughts and secrets with? In my 12-week coaching program, you will get step-by-step directions on exactly how to do that. And no, you're not going to learn to be interesting, entertaining, or outgoing, because that's not authentically you. You will get powerful skills to overcome the fear of being misunderstood, judged, or laughed at, so you can say what you really want to say. And if you don't know how to start the conversation, don't know what to talk about, or don't know where to find people that want to listen to you, this program is for you. You are going to learn strategic vulnerability. It's a powerful skill where you will discover your authentic self and set boundaries so that you can remove toxic relationships from your life and never open up to the wrong person again. Between now and the end of the year, I have room available for just a few new clients to join my VIP coaching program. If you want to start your new year off with the skills to make more meaningful relationships, then don't wait to make this change. Apply at the link in the show notes. Now it's time for your listener letters. If you'd like me to give you actionable steps to create more meaningful relationships with something that's happening with you in your life, you can write me at patternsofpossibility@gmail.com, and I might read it here on the show. I met this friend about a year ago. I'm not sure if the effort is worth it. He's not a bad person, but he constantly talks over others and doesn't listen. Instead, when you're talking, he is thinking of what he wants to say next. I'm a bit annoyed right now because oftentimes this happens with text, and I mean a lot. He sends me something, I respond, but he never even opens the text. Makes me feel like I'm wasting my time. He's got his issues, But I'm finding this aspect of his personality to be off-putting, to be honest. It's like I'm only there to occupy his downtime. And I'm just thinking he has no job. He's 25. He plays video games all day. No sleep schedule either. He smokes, he drinks with a hefty prescription. He's on like 10 plus pills. He needs to change his life, but has no initiative despite he know he needs to. And I'm here getting a PhD in physics from a top school, so I just feel like we're on different wavelengths. I talked to him about the fact that he has trouble listening. I told him that he seems more interested in what he has to say next, because he does. And I've also stopped him in the act when I asked him what I said after he responded. It seems it's also on me to keep things together, planning hangouts and so forth. It gets to me too that he's just so lazy. He does not like moving around, he doesn't like walking around, and he lies, mainly about his accomplishments. He said he doesn't want to lose me as a friend, but continues to do things which I low-key do not like. I'm thinking of stepping back from the relationship, but not ending it. I feel like I'm putting him at a higher priority in my life than he does me, despite me being busy and he is not. He's just floating through life, so I don't think he thinks about it or anything, really. It just seems unfair. So from my own personal experience, this sounds like one of those relationships where it's the better than and the less than. This dynamic is where one person is better off and has all the better things and is more intelligent and smarter, has more money, just more of something, more charisma, but they keep another person around who has a lot less of, so that they can do a comparison. And the comparison is, I have more than you and I'm much better than you, so because I'm giving you any of my time, you must appreciate me. You must accept me. You must do what I do for you because I'm doing things for you. And I don't have to do this because I have more money, more time, more charisma, whatever it is. But it's the better than and the less than dynamic. And so this person who wrote here on Reddit, I'm looking at this and doing my analysis, and I'm thinking, you definitely have more going to a top school, doing a PhD for physics, and your friend doesn't have much of anything, don't have a job, a sleep schedule, and there's so many things about their personality that you don't like. They talk over you. They're not considerate. They're not a reflection of you, but you hang out with them. And there's a mindset piece here that comes with it. Hanging out with this person because you want to be appreciated, they'd be lucky. I mean, I think this is like deep down kind of internal unconscious behaviors, because that's what I used to do. I used to just find people who were projects. I used to find people who I could fix, or I could feel better about being around because they had less than what I did. They had less than what I did, and I didn't feel better. It showed that I was insecure. It was me. I was a sign of insecurity because I was trying to make someone insecure because I had more than them. Not that I would be like, oh, I'm going to bring it up and so forth, and I'm going to brag about it. It's all subconscious stuff. It's all subconscious stuff. I'm going to bring it up, and I'm going to show that I'm so much better, and I can do this, I can do more, and I was really insecure. That's what I'm getting at here, is that if you're Redditor who wrote this, if you're such a great friend, and no doubt that you are, why don't you believe that for yourself? Why don't you believe that? You're smart, you're patient, you're kind. Go find somebody who will reflect that back to you, instead of someone who is not doing the things that you would do. Instead of trying to fix and change the person and adjust them and mold them into a person that you want them to be. But the way to do this is to let go. Because in your letter, you wrote that he's just floating through life, and, I don't want to let go of the relationship. I'm thinking of stepping back, but not ending it. I feel like I put him at a higher priority in my life than he does me, despite me being busy and he is not. You see, it's not equal. You prioritize, you show what's important to you. So go find those people who do the things that you want to do, who show up the way you do. So, of course, if you want to find new people, there's this mindset that needs to happen, mindset shift. What's going on with you? Asking yourself some questions like, why do I not find people who are in my age group or in my peer group? And the peers, I always talk about the history, hobbies, and habits. Those experiences that we have together, those are the things that are going to create better relationships. So if you have a similar history, activities that have brought you to, or your history is your experiences in your past that you can relate to, that's brought you to who you are today. Your hobbies, those are the activities that you like to do for fun. And then your habits, those are the daily routine and your activities that you do to create a better tomorrow for yourself, like working out, the way you eat, how you spend money. Those are some things. And it just seems like you are missing on every single one for this person. So what stops you from letting you find other people who do the things that you want? Have you already been rejected by so many people and your peers? Maybe they said that you were too much of this or too much of that, and you don't know how to react or you don't know how to connect with them. Because that's what happened to me. But I want you to spend some time thinking about why you're not looking to people who match what you do, and you're adamant about connecting with people who have less than and trying to change them to get them to appreciate you because you believe that they should. Thank you for writing in. I hope this helps. Let me know how it goes. Hey, thank you so much for listening. If you like this podcast, share with someone who you think could benefit from this information, and follow me on social media. You can find me at Patterns of Possibility on all social media, and I go live on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can catch me and learn more about these social connections and interact with other people who are looking for the meaningful connections, who share the same kind of stories, and be in community. And don't forget to sign up for my newsletter at patternsofpossibility.com, where you will get actionable steps delivered to your mailbox every week. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, take care.